Is it still the 80s?
No, it is not the 80s.
It sure feels like it.
It does, with all these movies coming out.
Yeah, we had the three biggest action stars of the 80s just had movies out. Well, they're all still playing right now.
Yeah, they are.
And we just saw them all. They are, Arnold Schwarzenegger making his comeback of 10 years.
The Last Stand.
Starring, starring role, The Last Stand. Then we have Bullet to the Head with Sylvester Stallone. And finally, Die Hard 5 with Bruce Willis.
Oh, well, that's actually called A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard 5.
Yeah.
So first thing we're going to say is there's going to be spoilers probably. So spoiler alert.
Yeah, we might mention a little bit of details here and there that, might be a spoiler. So
maybe.
Watch out. And
the question is, which was the best? Which action star has the best movie out right now? Now, first I want to say, out of all these movies, the hardest one to see was Bullet to the Head.
Yeah, we had a hard time trying to find that. I think possibly, maybe because it came out a few weeks ago.
We didn't see it till last, actually.
Yeah, maybe A Good Day to Die Hard possibly pushed it out of theaters. I'm not sure, but we had a hard time trying to find it.
Yeah.
We had to drive a pretty far distance to see the thing, and it was... Well,
that was the farthest I've ever driven to see a movie of this nature.
Yeah.
Or any movie. But it was just hard to keep up with these guys. They're coming out with movies now that are like, it's not even the summer yet. Like, we're in the winter still.
You would expect like the summer action blockbuster, but it's February, so
yeah. So anyway,
wrong time of year for this type of thing.
It really is. But I don't mind it. Which of these movies were you the most excited to see?
I was the most excited to actually see The Last Stand because it was a Schwarzenegger movie, and it wasn't like he has a 2-minute cameo like in the first Expendables. He's only in it for briefly.
He's in a scene, yeah.
Yeah, and then in some of the like Terminators. Well, he's only in
Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, Terminator Salvation. He's only in it briefly. So
it was like a digital face,
Yeah, so it wasn't a thing like that. It was actually a full-on, he's the star of the movie. And I think it had been a pretty long time, because he was the governor and all that, since he had actually starred in a movie. During that time, Stallone had a Rambo movie and a Rocky movie. Bruce Willis had some movies out. And... yeah, basically that's why. It had been a long time since Schwarzenegger had a movie, so I was really excited to see it. So, yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. It was like, it was a comeback movie, and Stallone was really the one I think I was the least interested, just because he's had so many movies lately. I mean, Bruce Willis has had a lot of movies, but one thing is that there was already a Die Hard not that long ago, or it didn't seem that long ago since Die Hard 4.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden there's another one. I didn't think it was necessary to make it. Well, I don't think any of these movies were really necessary.
Didn't you kind of feel like the last one, Die Hard 4, I felt the same way about like Indiana Jones with that one. It was kind of like, oh, it's going to be like, they're going to make a new Indiana Jones, but that'll be the last one. They're just kind of doing it to pay tribute to the old ones. And I kind of felt like Die Hard 4, that'd be the last one. But it turned out...
just one for this like generation.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess it turned out to be pretty successful, so they went ahead and made another one.
Like, don't make more of them now, But actually the Die Hard movies have been usually pretty well spaced out over time.
Yeah.
But anyway, not to get off topic too much.
So we were both the most excited to see The Last Stand, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Now, as far as action goes, which one, because these are action movies, that's really the whole reason you go to see them.
Yeah.
So which one had the best action?
Let's see. The best action, I'm going to say, was probably A Good Day to Die Hard, because... Yeah, actually, I agree. Because it just had the best action. It was an action romp, where the other two were more like maybe a little slower paced. I don't know. It had just more bigger explosions, bigger car chases. It was just better as an action movie, clearly, to me. Like, there wasn't even a competition.
It was some crazy action. Yeah, it wasn't really much of a competition. I think I liked the cornfield chase in The Last Stand. I thought that was a pretty good idea. Die Hard 5, nothing about the action is original. it's all stuff that we've seen a million times.
Like you're saying, the cornfield chase was unique.
Yeah, which, now I'm kind of going against my own opinion. I still like the action in Die Hard 5 the best of all these because it was just that huge, huge spectacle. Mm-hmm. But in general, like, I don't think any of these movies were that great with the action. I think action is best when they have a good way to, the hero's in some kind of danger, and they have this creative way to get out of it.
Right.
But in Die Hard 5, the solution to everything was just jump out of the way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here comes the helicopter's going to crash. It's like, just jump and that's it.
Just move your truck out of the way, or just jump out the window, or something like that. There was nothing to the hero. Like, the hero should have to come up with some kind of way to get out of the jeopardy that he's in, and there was
nothing clever about it. Like, anybody could have come up with the things that happened in this movie, but still, it was a lot of fun to watch. Big spectacle, real cool. The comedy. Now, some of these movies play up their laughs a little more than others, but which one do you think had you laughing the most?
Okay, well, let's see.
I think we're both going to agree with this one, but we'll see.
We'll see. Let's see. In The Last Stand, pretty much, you had some like classic Schwarzenegger lines in there. Like, I remember laughing at one point. He's like, "I am the sheriff," or whatever, and it was just like, okay, there's Arnold. So there were some funny moments like that, like one-liners. Not as many as I would have liked to have seen. There could have actually been a few more, which would have made it funnier. But really, that movie had comic relief, which was Johnny Knoxville.
Very deliberate comic relief.
Yeah, like, there'd be like a scene where Johnny Knoxville would be trying to like climb a telephone pole, and then the telephone pole would fall over onto a truck, and it was just like, it was so staged.
What was with that whole part?
I don't know, but it was supposed to be funny, and it was so staged that it just, to me, it didn't come off funny at all. And it was like that kind of stuff, like a comic relief, and you're just like, So, A Good Day to Die Hard. There was a few funny moments. The funniest moment I thought was when here's a spoiler, so watch out. The helicopter crashes into the building near the end, and to get away from this, Bruce Willis just jumps out the window. But when he jumps out the window, he's flipping the helicopter the middle finger, which I thought was hilarious.
Well, just the jumping out the windows part I thought was hilarious, because how many times is he gonna survive these long jumps? And there was one shot where him and his son were just falling down in slow motion, and the shot just goes on and on and on.
It's so over the top.
It's just ridiculous. I was laughing at that stuff.
But which one did you think was the funniest?
I think the funniest was Bullet to the Head.
No, why?
And,
why do you think that?
It's funny. Bullet to the Head, I think, was the one that played its jokes the least. It wasn't trying to be funny. I think of all of them, maybe Bullet to the Head.
It was the most serious.
Probably the most serious. Yeah, I mean, Stallone is a really dark character in that movie. But I thought it was just funny that he's just in such a bad mood the whole time.
Yeah,
he's just.
It's really Stallone's mannerisms and personality. So if you know Stallone, everybody who knows Stallone, he says some of those lines. Like, what's that one line he says at the bar when he's drinking the
he's like, when I'm done with this drink, I'm done with you.
Yeah, stuff like that. Where it's in the scene, I don't think it's really meant to be like that funny, but it is funny because it's like a classic Stallone line. It's
a more like understated humor. It's not going for like a big joke or anything. It's just these like really. Just funny facial expressions.
Like, if anybody else had said that line, it wouldn't have been funny. But just because he's saying it, the way he says it, it's funny. So
he did this thing a lot where he just was like his mouth was tightened up, like almost like the nerd frown a little bit. It's just like,
yeah.
And every time he would do that, I was just busting out laughing.
Yeah.
And then he does that thing where when he's yelling, like he yells out the side of his mouth. It was just. Yeah, Bullet to the Head had me laughing a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we both agree the best comedy was, because of Stallone, Bullet to the Head. Now, how about, which of these three movies had the best villain, do you think?
I think they all sucked. Well, they weren't it wasn't like horrible, but it just wasn't. The villains weren't that great.
You know what? I keep agreeing with you, but once again, I'm gonna agree.
I do have a best villain if I had to pick one, but
I thought that Martinez in Last Stand was very cliched. In fact, I think all of them were pretty cliched. So, yeah, they just weren't very interesting, or they were just bad.
There's always more than one villain, too. It's like, I mean, there's one main villain, but they always have, you know...
Oh, I know what you're thinking. Actually, that's true. In The Last Stand, I might steal your answer here, but I don't know what you're going to say, but there's actually the second bad guy.
I did like him better,
He was actually really good, I thought.
Yeah.
Too bad he wasn't the actual main villain. I don't know his name, but the second bad guy, I think he had like a ponytail.
Yeah, it's like if you're like playing a video game sometimes, and the mini boss is more interesting than the main boss. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
But still,
he's the guy who gets his ear shot off by Schwarzenegger within the bus scene. Yeah, he was good.
But I think really, like, if I had to pick what was the best of the main villains in all three of these movies, it was what was his name? Kormoff. Yuri Kormoff.
Oh, from Die Hard 5.
Yeah. He was probably the best, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you think he's a good guy at first, and then you find out that he's, you know, the
I didn't
bad
like
guy.
all those twists. They weren't very well done.
Yeah,
it was
the movie was a little
mess.
like a little overcomplicated and a bit overwritten, I guess. But it was
Well, which brings us to our next thing, the plot. What was the best plot of these movies?
Yeah, well, like I just said, Die Hard 5, I thought it was like too overwritten. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's not really about the plot when you see a movie like this. The plot is just to get the action going, but it still has to have something that you care about. You know, there needs to be some kind of substance behind it. And
I don't think, for me personally, I don't think there was anything that I cared about in any of these movies, unfortunately.
I think, if I had to pick, I think The Last Stand. I think, you know, it's a small town that hasn't seen a lot of action, and you know, the bad guys are coming through, and then they have to stop them. Like, okay, fine, it's simple enough.
It was better than the others.
Yeah.
Not great, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that if the plot isn't good, or if you don't care about what's going on, then the action doesn't really matter as much. But hold on, what was I going to say? Yeah, it's about the execution of the plot. Like, what's the plot to Rocky?
The plot to Rocky is he fights the other guy, and does he win or lose?
It's just a boxer.
It's a love story.
It's a love story. It's a boxer. He gets a chance to fight the heavyweight champion. If you explain it, you know, it's very simple. There isn't much to the plot.
It's an underdog story, is what it is.
Yeah, it's just the way it's done. So you could you know what I'm trying to say? It's all about how it's done, basically.
Yeah, it's about the execution. Like, any of these movies could have been done well, I guess, but it just needed better execution, better writing, better.
Yeah, like you know what? I with Die Hard, I think the father and son thing that could have worked if it was done well, but you know, it wasn't really. Like, you didn't really care.
The father-son dynamic in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was really well done, but at the same time, that wasn't the hero has a son. That was actually the hero has a father. So that's sort of a different dynamic. But
it's a little more like the Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that.
And there's another one I'm thinking of too. What's the other one where it has a son? There's got to be another movie.
Rocky?
Well, I don't know, but there's movies like that, and I can't think of one where it works real well. Except, Last Crusade, you said, but that's a different, dynamic. Like
that's
the
hero has a father.
Yeah,
it's not with the. Yeah, so.
Yeah. So anyway, like I think they tried with it, but it just didn't work, and I can't really put my finger on it. But I'd have to see it again and really dissect it more. But
yeah, I did not like the son character in Die Hard 5. He was just like I would rather just watch Bruce Willis, because I went to that theater to see John McClane kick some ass, not John McClane and company. It's like I don't really want to see that.
Well, when he has a sidekick in Die Hard 4, it's what's his name? Justin Long. Justin Long, I think his name is. He's like the computer geek, the Apple guy, and he's it kind of works because he's like he solves all the technical stuff in the movie. So and he also gets on John McClane's nerves a lot.
So isn't he more of a comic relief then?
He's comic relief, but he's also important to it. So it's not like he's just there. So sometimes that can work. Oh, of course, buddy cop movies, some work better than others. Lethal Weapon, that's a great dynamic. Yeah. That works. So yeah.
But that's a partner.
It starts with two. Yeah.
That's a partner, though, not a son.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. Mm-hmm. Like the Bullet to the Head. You're saying Bullet to the Head, he had a partner.
You're saying like movies that establish a character and then they introduce like a sidekick or something.
I specifically was just talking about like it's their son. Yeah.
All right, so
yeah, that's all. Like I can't think of a movie where that works. But partners, yeah, there's good movies where there's partners. I can think of a bunch of those.
Yeah, we could probably go on and on with that. But overall,
how about Batman and Robin?
Well, that
Robin's a good partner.
That's the dynamic duo. So you can't go wrong with that. It's like, look, boom. Boom.
That's why I said that, because I just looked over there and I saw those, and I was like, "Whoa, there's the greatest partner ever!" Right
that's
there.
The problem in this room is that you just look around, like I just looked around. Oh, Lethal Weapon! Yeah. Like there's just examples everywhere. But anyway, before we get completely off topic, like we usually do, what was the best?
All right, what was the best of all of them? Let's see.
Or the least worst, or. I mean, actually, do you think these movies were that bad, or like, what do you really think of them?
I don't think any of them were horrible. Mm-hmm. None of them were boring. Mm-hmm. I think that's the worst thing about a movie when you watch it and you're just bored.
Yeah.
None of them were boring. Like I could sit through and watch all of them from beginning to end. And for entertainment value, actually, I would probably say Die Hard was the most entertaining from beginning to end. For me, like there weren't any parts where I was like, "Oh, come on!" Like, and I felt that way a few times in Last Stand. There was a few slow scenes. I was just like, "All right, come on, get to Arnold, like saying a one-liner." Same thing with Bullet to the Head. I was just like, "Come on, get to Stallone, like saying something funny or So the most entertaining, Die Hard, but not the best plot. So it's really hard. It's really hard to pick because these basically to me were all. There's something about it, like we just went through. Something about each one that was better than the others. They were all equally mediocre to me. I couldn't really recommend one. If I was going to recommend one, actually, I'd recommend the Schwarzenegger one because of what I said before. It's only because it's a novelty to see Schwarzenegger as a starring role. Like you should see it just for that. Even though it was kind of a mediocre comeback, but still, there was a novelty of seeing Schwarzenegger on the big screen in a starring role again. Mm-hmm. I think for that reason, that was the best. And like I said, I like the plot in that one the best. I think if you took out the actors in all these movies, like if they were, say these were starring someone else, it was just a generic action film without a big star, I think Last Stand might have been the best. But these movies really are about the star for me. Like the only reason I went to see these, like we said right from the beginning, is because of the actors that we've come to know and love. And I think for that reason, the one that I liked the best with the character was Stallone in Bullet to the Head. Yeah. I think, like we said, he was hilarious. And he was... it was kind of like a film noir character. He had the narration going... And he's not really a straight-up hero. He's kind of a crooked character. He's an anti-hero. I guess they call him that. I think, he's just a sketchy, character that's been in a lot of trouble. And he just walks around being badass, and that's what it's all about, is just... one thing I liked about Bullet to the Head is that Christian Slater was in it, and I haven't seen him in a movie since, like, The Wizard. And I think it's pretty cool. Did you know he has Captain Kirk's chair? He supposedly owns the original Captain Kirk chair. So I thought that was a little cool thing about Bullet to the Head. But yeah, Stallone pretty much made the movie. Yeah. He was good. Stallone did it for me. I just have to give in. So yeah. I'm going to go for the Schwarzenegger movie, though, just because I was excited to see him. Yeah. All right. So there you have it.